WWF In Your House triple header. It's being broadcast originally on the 24th of September 1995 at the Signor, Michigan Signor Civic Center. The attendance for this pay-per-view was 5,146 with a pay-per-view buy rate of 0.7. Our commentary team for the night is Vince McMahon, Jerry the King Lawler, and Jim Ross. Tonight in our opening match, we have the undefeated Waylon Mercy making also his WWF pay-per-view debut, and he'll be taking on Savio Vega. Now, before the match can officially get underway, Waylon attempts to catch Savio off guard, but Savio avoids the attack to take early control of the match, and starts working here on Waylon's arm. Now, Waylon gets back into the match with a knee to the gut here and takes the action to the outside. Waylon then scoop slams Savio on the outside before rolling him back into the ring. Waylon then drops Savio over the top rope with a stun gun type attack here. Waylon continues to control the match with a very, very slow pace. Now during the match we get a backstage segment here with Doc Hendricks, who explains that Bret Hart has yet to arrive here in the building, and this puts our triple match header, our main event, in jeopardy. Now, heading back to the match, Waylon continues to wear down Vega with a sleeper hold, but Vega would drive Waylon's head into the turnbuckle to escape the sleeper. However, Waylon would quickly lock the sleeper back in, but this time Vega uses a back body drop to escape the hold, which would leave both men down. After both men recover and get back up, Savio Vega hits a running bulldog on Waylon. Waylon would then return with a brainbuster. Waylon then picks up Savio Vega, but Vega reverses to a German suplex and then follows up with a spinning wheel kick for the victory here. Now this breaks Waylon's undefeated streak in the WWF. Moving backstage now, and Gorilla Monsoon is with Jim Cornette, questioning him on the whereabouts of Owen Hart. Cornette tries to stall and work around the question here, but Monsoon tells Cornette that the match will go ahead whether Owen is here or not, insinuating that Yokozuna may have to defend the tag team titles by himself against Diesel and Shawn Micheals. Now for the second match of the night, we have Henry O.Godwinn, and he's taking on Sid with Ted DiBiase. Now, this match itself has come about due to O.Godwinn slopping DiBiase 2 times in the last month now, but also slopping Sid more recently this past week on WWF Superstars. We're also shown a clip of Sid powerbombing O.Godwinn on the outside on the most recent episode of WWF Superstars. So I look to this to be a part of the match here and something that may affect O.Godwinn as we go on. Now, to begin the match, O.Godwinn gets the better of Sid. This also forces Sid to the apron, so he rolls to the apron where O.Godwinn clotheslines him to the outside. Following this, Sid gets back onto the apron to get back into the ring, but O.Godwinn grabs him and suplexes him back into the ring. Now, O.Godwinn then attempts a scoop slam, but he's unable to, showing the effects here of the recent powerbomb from Sid on the outside. Seeing this now, Sid sees blood in the water and starts to attack the back of O.Godwinn. Sid then drives his knee to the back of Henry, forcing him to the outside. Sid then gains the attention of the referee, allowing Ted DiBiase to attack O.Godwinn on the outside. Getting back into the ring now, Sid locks O.Godwinn in a camel clutch. O.Godwinn then would attempt a comeback, but Sid used a hip attack to knock O.Godwinn back to the ground. And then he would lock the hold straight back on. Now, both men are back to their feet, and Sid attempts a corner attack on O.Godwinn, but O.Godwinn moves. Now, with O.Godwinn still dazed, Sid attempts to follow up with a double axe handle from the second rope, but O.Godwinn hits Sid in the stomach. O.Godwinn then hits a reverse DDT, and it looks like he's going for the win here. However, Ted DiBiase pulls him off the pin. Now, O.Godwinn heads to the outside to confront DiBiase and just backs him away. O.Godwinn then moves back into the ring, and then he hits the ropes. Don't know what he's going for here, but Ted DiBiase grabs his leg. This would then allow Sid to take advantage and jackknife powerbomb O.Godwinn for the win here. Now, after the match, DiBiase and Sid get into a tug of war over O.Godwinn's slop bucket here. Now both are looking for revenge here is what I'm thinking here. During the argument, Bam Bam Bigelow runs in and attacks Sid. Karma then runs in to support Sid. So then we have Karma and Sid double teaming Bam Bam. And then DiBiase gets the bright idea to then slot Bam Bigelow instead. As DiBiase readies the bucket, O.Godwinn grabs the slot bucket from DiBiase and throws it over his head before making a quick escape. We go backstage once again with Gorilla Monsoon with Jim Cornette. Now, Monsoon tells Cornette here that the match is definitely going to go ahead tonight, regardless of Owen's involvement. He gives Cornette the opportunity to have Yoko either take on Shawn Micheals and Diesel alone, or he can actually go and find a tag team partner to stand in for Owen for this night. And obviously, Cornette opts to go and find a tag team partner to replace Owen. Moving on now, we have more Bam Bam here, and Bam Bam is going to be taking on the British Bulldog. And before the match begins, we're shown a clip of the recent heel turn of the British Bulldog, who has aligned himself with Camp Cornette. So just be aware of that. As the match begins, both men lock up and Bulldog puts Bam Bam in a headlock. Now Bam Bam tosses Bulldog into the ropes to escape the headlock and then gives him a shoulder block. Bam Bam then hits Bulldog with another shoulder block and Bulldog rolls to the outside to recover. Now during the match we get another quick backstage shot with Cornette. This time he's with Sid and it looks like he's trying to recruit him for the match for the triple header tonight. So we may already have a partner here to replace Owen. Now heading back to the match, Bam Bam hits a big hip toss followed by another shoulder block, really getting the better of the British Bulldog here. Bam Bam then attempts an elbow drop but misses. This allows Bulldog to get back into the match where he locks in a chin lock here to slow the pace a bit and wear down Bam Bam. Bulldog would then hit a suplex on Bam Bam. Bam Bam would try to get a clothesline here on Bulldog, but Bulldog would drop the top rope and Bam Bam would go flying over the top rope to the outside. He'd hit the apron pretty hard here too on his way out. Now on Bam Bam's way back into the ring, Bulldog attempts to suplex him back in, but Bam Bam would reverse and would crotch Bulldog on the top rope. Following this, Bam Bam tosses Bulldog back into the ring and then follows up with a diving headbutt. He goes for the pin but only gets a 2 count. After the 2 count, Bam Bam argues with the referee. Whilst arguing with the referee, Bulldog recovers and hits a chop block to the back of the knee of Bam Bam. Bulldog would then start working the knee of Bam Bam pretty aggressively here. Now Bam Bam's able to separate from the Bulldog a bit, but Bulldog gets straight back into him and hits him with another chop block. But soon after, Bam Bam tries to get back into the match after hitting a enziguri on the British Bulldog, but is unable to capitalize on this, and Bulldog will continue to work the knee. Bam Bam uses headbutts to create space between he and the Bulldog, but again he's unable to mount a comeback as Bulldog hits a running knee and wears Bam Bam down with another headlock. So the referee drops the arm here twice for Bam Bam, but then Bam Bam's able to mount a comeback, driving Bulldog into the corner. Bulldog tries to stop this with a scoop slam, but Bam Bam lands straight on him. Bulldog attempts a sunset flip on Bam Bam. Bam Bam drops all his weight on the chest of the Bulldog. Bam Bam then heads to the top rope to attempt a moonsault on the Bulldog, but Bulldog moves out of the way. After hitting a flying headbutt here, Bulldog whips Bam Bam into the corner. Bam Bam hits face first and turns right around into Bulldog, who then picks him up for the power slam and the victory. Next we get 2 backstage segments here. The first is with the Superstars phone line, or whatever it was called, I can't remember. Then we also get a quick little commercial for the WrestleMania special. Moving on, we have Bob Backlund heading to the ring. Bob then introduces Dean Douglas, so we figure out, okay, Bob is here to be in the corner for Dean Douglas. After Douglas enters, he then introduces Razon Ramon himself. On Razor's way to the ring, he runs into the ring and then drops Dean with several punches until clotheslining Douglas to the outside. We're back in the ring now, and then Razor hip tosses Dean back to the outside. We then see another backstage moment here with Cornette. He's there with Yokozuna, and they're meeting with Mabel. So another possible tag team partner here for Yokozuna tonight. Now, back to the action. Both men are trading holds. Dean Douglas attempts a crossbody, but he's caught by Razor, and then Razor hits him with a fallaway slam. Razor Irish whips Douglas into the corner. Douglas comes back with a jumping sunset flip. Razor drops down for the pin, but Douglas reverses into a pin of his own. Douglas Irish whips Razor to the outside and then follows up with an axe handle. Douglas scoop slams Razor on the outside and continues to work on the back as he drives Razor back first into the ring post. Now we're back into the ring. Douglas hits a top rope axe handle to the back of Razor and then continues his work on Razor's back. Now after an Irish whip, Razor spins around and hits Douglas with a big right hand here. Razor, however, is unable to capitalize on this, and then Dean would then continue to work on the back again of Razor here. Dean Irish whips Razor hard into the turnbuckles and then springboard splash onto the back of Razor. Douglas locks in the chinlock and then starts sitting on the back of Razor and starts slapping in the back of the head whilst he's here. Razor's then able to get out of this chinlock by standing up and giving Douglas the electric chair drop. Both men are down for a 9 count here, but then they're able to get up. Razor would then hit Douglas with a Northern Light suplex. Razor then places Douglas on the top rope, but Douglas elbows his way out to create space here between both he and Razor, allowing then Douglas to hit a diving crossbody on Razor. But in the momentum, Razor rolls through to try and pin Douglas, but only gets a 2 count here. Douglas then drives Razor into the referee, knocking the referee down. Douglas then follows up with a forearm. Backlund is then trying to revive the referee. However, Razor hits the Razor's edge. Now Backlund is holding the referee away from the action, trying to shield him. And then out of nowhere, we have the 1-2-3 kid enter the ring and count the fall here. Razor gets up and he sees the kid. And then confused Razor starts to push on the kid. The kid pushes him back until Razor pushes him out of the ring. Douglas would then roll up Razor and grab the tights. And by this time, the referee's back in the action. And you get the win here. Now, after the match, Razor and the kid get back into the ring and they're about to fight, but they are broken up by agents and referees. So I guess we'll find out on Raw what's going to happen here with these two again. We then go backstage with Doc Hendricks, who is advertising the Shawn Micheals hat and glasses. And then we get a promo with Diesel and Shawn Micheals. Really nothing to say here, just the stock standard, hyping up their match tonight with Yoko and whoever the mystery opponent may be. On to the next match. It's Bret Hart taking on Jean-Pierre Lafitte. And Bret's looking to get his jacket back here and to fight for the honor of his young fans that Lafitte had previously stolen from. Now, before the match, we had a live promo here from Bret, which was pretty cool the way they did it, because straight after the promo, the camera follows Bret as he exits, or enters, I should say, enters into the arena through the front door. That was a pretty cool little touch there. Now, to begin the match here, once Bret enters the ring, Lafitte exits, and then Bret would hit a suicide dive to the outside onto Lafitte. Bret then continues his attack on the outside and takes his jacket from Lafitte. Now, we're back in the ring, and Lafitte Irish whips Bret into the corner and attempts to follow up, but Bret hits an arm drag on Lafitte and starts to work the arm here of Lafitte. Now, Lafitte gets in control of the match, and Bret tries to get back in but misses a shoulder attack and hits the ring post. Lafitte throws Bret shoulder first back into the ring post here to continue the work on that shoulder. Lafitte then Irish with Bret, and Bret hits sternum first very hard into the turnbuckle here. Bret tosses Lafitte over the top rope, but he lands on his feet, which you don't really see that very often, and then pulls Bret to the outside and tosses him into the steel steps here. Now we're back in the ring, and Lafitte hits Bret with a sidewalk slam and then heads to the top rope. Lafitte hits a top rope leg drop, but only gets a 2 count here on Bret. Lafitte would then head to the top rope again, and he'd attempt his cannonball finisher, but Bret moves out of the way. Both men are now down and are able to recover at the count of 8. Lafitte charges Bret. Bret picks him up for an atomic drop and then a running clothesline. Bret attempts the sharpshooter, but Lafitte kicks Bret to the outside. Lafitte then attempts an outside senton, but hits the ground pretty hard here. Bret throws Lafitte into the steel step and then back into the ring. Then Bret would return the favor and throw Lafitte sternum first into the turnbuckle. Bret would then hit a Russian leg sweep, followed up by a backbreaker to Lafitte, then a second arm forearm drop, but Lafitte would get his boot up for the forearm drop. Bret would attempt a crucifix pin attempt, but Lafitte actually holds him up on his shoulder and then drops him down, kind of like a rolling senton type move. Lafitte knees Bret in the face and attempts to go for the pin here, with both feet on the rope here, but only gets a 2 count. Now after this, Lafitte is unhappy and starts to argue with the referee. Whilst arguing, Bret is able to hit a drop kick on Lafitte. Bret then goes for a running bulldog, but again Lafitte would throw him sternum first into the ropes. Lafitte goes for a pin, but Bret puts his foot up on the rope. Bret ties Lafitte up under the ropes, and then attempts a crossbody into the ropes whilst Lafitte is there. But Lafitte would move and Bret would get hung up in the ropes himself. Lafitte then heads to the top rope to attempt a diving body splash, but Bret would move. Now, they both men get back up, but then they would actually run into each other and collide. As both men are down though, Bret starts to hook the legs of Lafitte here, and preparing for the sharpshooter, and as he gets back up, he's got the hold locked in, and Lafitte is unable to get to the ropes and taps out here. But great sequence of events, and it was a really good match. Now moving to a backstage segment, Jim Cornette has chosen the British Bulldog to replace Owen here, and confirms with the Gorilla Monsoon that even if the British Bulldog wins, he still gets to get the Intercontinental title, he still gets to win the World title, or if he pins one of them. And Monsoon agrees, like, yes, this will happen exactly how it was planned originally with Owen. Alundra Blaze then makes an appearance, and no, she's not wrestling. She's just modeling the triple-header t-shirt, which, by the way, is an extremely 90s t-shirt here. A bit sad that she's not being used here, but it's the 90s. Now moving on to tonight's main event, the triple header, where the WWF title, the Intercontinental title, and the Tag Team Champions are being decided. We have the Diesel and Shawn Micheals, the WWF Champion and the Intercontinental Champion, against one half of the Tag Team Champions, Yokozuna, and now standing in for the missing Owen Hart is the British Bulldog. Now, Micheals and Diesel determine who will start the match with a game of scissors, paper, rock, which Micheals wins here, so he'll be starting off the match against the British Bulldog. Now, both men trade holds to start the match. Then Micheals starts to use his speed advantage against the Bulldog, outsmarting him, and then he actually clotheslines him to the outside. Now after this, Yoko would attempt to interfere, but Micheals is able to avoid Yoko, and Diesel enters to give the assist, knocking Yoko to the outside. After regrouping on the outside, Bulldog would then tag in Yoko. Now, once Yoko gets in here, he signals to Micheals to tag in Diesel, but Micheals instead chooses to taunt Yoko with a sumo stance. Yoko would then charge Micheals, but Micheals slides under his legs, and then he attempts to use his speed advantage against Yoko, but Yoko stops him with a big back elbow. Now, after a missed elbow drop, Micheals would get to tag in Diesel, but then Diesel is quickly taken down by Yoko here. But shortly after, Diesel hits a running clothesline to Yoko and then follows up with a big running boot, knocking Yoko to the outside. Diesel then attempts to pull Yoko back into the ring, but Bulldog attacks Diesel as Mr. Fuji distracts the referee. This then apparently makes Bulldog the legal man, as the referee just allows it. The Bulldog then hits a stalling suplex on Diesel here. Well, he does on the second attempt. He sort of drops him on the first one, but a lot of power here shown by the Bulldog. Bulldog then slows the pace and locks Diesel in a headlock. Bulldog would then attempt a running power slam on Diesel, but Diesel throws Bulldog into the corner. Following this, Diesel would have enough time to tag in Shawn Micheals. Now, Shawn Micheals uses Diesel's shoulders to hit a big body splash on the British Bulldog. He'd go for the pin, but only get a 2 count. Now, Bulldog would recover and body press Micheals crotch first onto the top rope, where Yoko would attack Micheals. Yoko would then tag in. So now Yoko's a legal man. He's now working at a slower pace here with Micheals, beating Micheals down in the corner before throwing him to the outside, where the British Bulldog would scoop power slam him to the ground. Heading back into the ring now, and Bulldog is a legal man. Bulldog hits a big back body drop on Micheals. Then shortly after, Micheals mounts a comeback, but the Bulldog stops it with a big clothesline here. Yoko then tags in and begins to wear Micheals down once more. Whilst in the background, we see the British Bulldog waving the Japanese flag. Now, Yoko then attempts a bonsai drop, but Micheals able to move out of the way. Both Micheals and Yoko crawl to their tag team partners. So then we get Diesel and Bulldog in there. Diesel then back body drops Bulldog. And then he follows up with a big sidewalk slam. Micheals and Diesel then Irish whip Bulldog and Yokozuna into each other. And then after this, they would then Irish whip Bulldog into Yokozuna once more, where Yoko would fall on top of the British Bulldog. Signals for the jackknife. However, Cornette gets up on the ropes for the distractions, but Michael cuts him off. Yokozuna would then hit Diesel with a Samoan drop. Micheals then hits Yokozuna with a super kick, which knocks him to the outside. As Micheals makes his way out, the British Bulldog hits Diesel with his big body slam, but Micheals stops the count with an elbow drop. Then we have Owen Hart interfering here, but Diesel sees him and hits him on his way down. Then he follows up with the jackknife powerbomb and pins Owen for the victory here. So we have new tag team champions, Shawn Micheals and Diesel. But tomorrow night on Raw, we'll find out what's going on with interference here, because technically we did have the non-legal man take the pinfall here, even though Owen is technically one of the tag team champions. Now, just my final thoughts here. And again, we didn't rate each match individually, but if you would like to see me do this sort of ratings for every match as we go, I can do that, but it's up to you. Now, my favorite match of the night was the Bret Hart and Jean-Pierre Lafitte match. I wasn't expecting to like that match. I thought it was going to be quite boring, but Bret and Lafitte had a great match. So I definitely recommend giving this match a watch. It was back and forth, and it was just really fun to watch. And I guess it was a surprise for me too, because I didn't, again, expect much from it. No other matches really stood out to me other than the drama of the main event, which itself was a pretty average sort of match. I would have actually preferred to see Owen in the match, because Owen is fun to watch. So with all that said, I'm going to give WWF In Your House Triple Header a D+ rating. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on episode 3 of the Nitro vs. Raw series right here on Seriously Wrestling.